Okay, this is grammar lesson number 22, chapter 15, volitional form. This is our first grammar lesson, one of our second to last conjugations we are going to learn this this year, excuse me. And it's actually quite easy, and you'll see why in just a second. So, before we move on, let's do a quick review because this grammar lesson actually ties back to something we learned in Japanese 1. Now, suggest a plan of action. So when you suggest a plan of action, you use the word let's or shall in English, but in Japanese, you would use an ending called masho or mashoka. Now, mashoka just makes into a question. So, shall we do this or shall we do that? And let's would be let's do this or let's do that. Okay, so let's eat will be 食べる、食べましょう. Because you take this stem and add ましょう. For questions, so shall we eat will be 食べましょうか. You just add ka at the end and that makes sense of question. This should be very easy stuff for you all, and I don't think anyone would have any questions about that. If you do need to recap and check up on this to see if you understood it or not, it is in your textbook from Japanese 1, or you might need to look at your notes from Japanese 1. And if you have any questions, you can ask me as well. Now, the new form, the volitional form, uses the ending yo. So let's take a look. Now, masho is a formal way of expressing a suggestion for a plan of action. So this is when you're speaking to someone who is an elder to you or someone who you may not know very well. That would be the common use of this. Now, a less formal way of expressing such suggestions can be done by using this volitional form, which is yo, and that's usually the ending. It's if you take a look at it, masho and yo, you're just taking the last two characters of shi masho, and then you're just adding it, and that's what it is you're shortening it. So let's eat 食べよう. Okay, so let's do root verbs. You do have to split between root verbs, oo verbs, and irregulars. So let's take a look at the root verbs are always simple. You drop the root and add yo. So to eat, 食べる. So the stem would be 食べ, and then 食べよう. Oo verbs. Now, oo verbs, you drop the final oo sound and you add o at the end. So if you want to visualize this should be the oo is the third character in the column. A, I, U, E, O, right? Oo is in the third. You're dropping it down two. So it'd be oo, E, O. So you drop into the O row instead. Okay, so to speak, hanasu would be the verb. So hanasu, let's romanize it because sometimes it's easier to see. Hanasu, hanasu. And the u, you would change it out to an o and add a u at the end. I romanized this just to kind of keep it clean, but that's all it is. It's always going to stay u. So it'll be hana, so u. Okay, once again, su, sa, shi, su, se, so. Dropping down to the fifth character with the o's. Okay, let's take a look at the examples. Asobu is to play. So it'll be aso. Asobo. To swim. Oyogu. Oyogu. So we have the u at the end. So you take out the u and add o at the end. So oyo go u. Very simple. If you need to review this, just take a look. Sometimes it might help if you take a look at more examples. The textbook does have a lot more examples in it. It is on page 78, 78, so you can take a look at that to see if that might help you. Okay, so the volitional form, so kuru becomes koyo. To do, suru becomes shio. Now these are irregular, but once again, you have the stem and you just add yo at the end. Now, in a nutshell, I don't know if anyone noticed this so far, but even though it's spelled yo-u, when you pronounce it, you want to keep in mind that the u is not pronounced as u, it's pronounced as o. So, o, tabe yo. And once again, just like masho and mashoka, you can add a ka at the end to make it into, as if you're asking for someone's opinion or response to your suggestion. So 食べようか would be shall we eat? Okay, so let's take a look at some of these examples. This last one's a little bit tricky, but keep in mind, I do want you to still try these. The second one as well is tricky as well, but this one utilizes two verbs. So you're going to buy a stuffed animal today. Okay, so go and buy. What is the main action is you are going to go, but what are you doing when you're going? You're going to buy. So Japanese 2 just learned this, but I know some of you in Japanese 3 were kind of overhearing this conversation about how to put two verbs in one action. It is not using te form, so please make sure you get that out of your head. Not using te form at all. This final one as well. This is if you think back to Japanese 2 at the end, we had the comparisons. If you have the comparisons, you could figure out that you can say this and this, which do you like? But instead, I put a verb, so it's not that difficult. But try it out, see if you get it. And pause this video when you need to, so you can try these out. Okay, hopefully you paused it, and let's go over. Shall we give up? What a sad word, but we will use this. So, shall we give up? So, akirameru is the verb. Akirameru is actually a root verb, so it's easy. So, akirame yoka. Akirame yoka. And that's it. Very simple. Okay, let's go buy a stuffed animal today. Okay, so this one, it'll be kyo, right? Nuigurumi o, that's what you are buying. Now, you are going to buy. Okay, so the act of buying is almost like a noun. So be buy would come first, and then go would be the final action that you put at the end. Okay, so it'll be kyo nuigurumi o kai ni iko. Now, this is how you make this. But I'm going to go buy. I'm returning to eat dinner. Like I said, this is Japanese 1, Japanese 2, excuse me. So if you need a refresher, go back through your notes to see if you can do these. Okay, so staying at home or going out, which shall we do? Okay, so this is the one using blank do, blank dochi, that's the stem that we're using. So staying at home. Now, if you're staying at home, you are at this location. So it'd be the word iru. Now, I don't know if I taught you this one, but if I didn't, then excuse me for this. But iru is to be here. Like imasu, imasen, like I am here, or I exist. So, 家にいるのと出かけるのと. Now, these have no at the end, and these are in dictionary form. Why? Because Japanese 2 just learned this as well. And so Japanese 3, I hope that you kind of overheard this. But these are used as gerunds. So these are verbs acting as nouns in this case. So the act of staying at home or going out, which shall we do? Okay. So, once again, と and then 家にいるのと出かけるのとどっちの方を now typically it was が好きですか嫌いですか上手ですか上手じゃないですか those were all adjective stems. Now we're asking between these two choices, therefore we're going to use the direct object. So these are direct objects, so it'd be the particle and then しようか. So it kind of taught you a new grammar format, but I think this is an easy one that you can still grasp without me physically teaching another grammar lesson. So see if you got this one right. If you didn't, just fix it up and that should be fine. Okay, let's take a look. This week, since I'm not going to be in, I'd like for you all to make sure you conjugate this week's vocabulary into the volitional form. And I'll be checking this on Friday, so your charts, I'm going to take a quick peek and make sure that you are doing these correctly. And in addition to this, you do have some textbook exercises that you do need to complete, which will be assigned by the sub. And that should be it. So, if you have any questions, continue emailing me or contacting me. You guys are doing an excellent job. Keep up the good work, and I will see you back on Friday.